Hello, everyone. Welcome to the NobCast. We are back with a vengeance. I'm back from yet another holiday because I'm such an outrageous part-time content creator. I know you guys don't care, but it was a lovely time. Thank you for asking. I know you didn't, but there we go. I went to the US. It was nice. And Gaskey, I've definitely put on a lot of weight because the shorts coming back were much tighter than going on.
Did you wear the same pair?
I did. I did. Obviously,
was it a buttonless?
Obviously, I washed them and stuff, but I like to pick comfy shorts on a plane, because I'm going to be on a plane for it was an 8-hour flight, from Manchester to Orlando. Oh, yeah. It's got to be comfy shorts.
You don't wear your going out shorts.
No, yeah, exactly.
Wear, like jogger bottoms maybe as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted the below the knee freedom, so I had shorts, obviously. And on the way back, I had to change my shorts. I just because I took some gym shorts, I had to swap to my baggy gym shorts, which I'm wearing right now actually, because it was far too. They were tight.
Was this your first ever long haul flight then?
Well, you and I have been to Canada, haven't we?
We did that. That was long. That was a long time ago.
But since then, I guess, because I guess the longest flight was like 4 hours to Gran Canaria, which is fine. But yeah, on the way going there, it was fine. But
coming back, if you can't sleep on a plane,
I can't.
It drags.
Yeah, and I tried so hard because the flight was from like 8 p.m. until 4 a.m.
through the night.
I got maybe 30 minutes sleep. It was awful. Anyway. This is a football podcast. Welcome. We are going to today talk about City have won the title. I think we ended last podcast by saying, but by the time we come back, maybe City will be slightly closer to the title. They've won it in pretty embarrassing fashion in respect of from Arsenal's perspective. So we'll be talking about our City's title win. We're talking about Arsenal's capitulation. We're going to be having our end of season awards. And we're also going to be answering one NobCast question, which is Jack's worst Premier League 11 draft. So this will be a slightly shorter podcast than usual. And then next week, we're going to be, obviously the season will be over. So we'll be touching on, more so United, the relegation battle, the top 4 battle, etc. But Gaskey, Man City have won the title. That's 3 in a row. I know you must be buzzing about that.
Yourself.
You've got the enthusiastic features of an elk who's just deposited a great amount of money into his bank account.
I think I would react a different way if that was me. But no, they've deserved winners. Deserved winners at the end of the day. They have been for the last 3 years.
Not according to Ty from Arsenal Fan TV, as you just told me.
Call him out. Yeah, they deserve winners. Like, no one else can keep up with them. And before people come in, it's like, it's oil money. They've got all these, allegations and all this. How about people look at your own clubs? The clubs are not run properly. It's the only club that seems to be run well. So
yeah, they're running on empty. They're running on one leg.
Yeah, they are. Apart from City, who are running with 100 legs.
With Usain Bolt's mighty millipede legs. Yeah, 100 Usain Bolt legs. Before we talk about the actual football's perspective, let's touch on that because you raise a very good point. Because Twitter has obviously, I'm obviously, City fan on Twitter, so most of my stuff is stuff about City, and most of it's celebratory stuff. But goodness me, the amount of sour grapes of... I think even the BBC came out as soon as City won the title with City won the title, but let's not forget about these 115 odd breaches or whatever. And it's just like, and it's not just it's like everyone. It seems.
It's just like I think one journalist was like, the Usain Bolt on the pitch, but Lance Armstrong off the pitch, and it's like, what? Like, okay, yeah, let's be fair. They need an answer to all this, basically, just to shut everyone up. It needs sorting, but. Let's talk about football. They've won the league, football related. Ignore the stuff off the pitch.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not even. I'm so annoyed. It's not even relevant because first of all, it's not true. I did a video about why it's clearly bollocks. But secondly, it's not even like the argument is City have spent too much relative to everyone else because other clubs have outspent them. Chelsea and United have outspent them. It's a question of have they spent beyond their means, and beyond their means doesn't actually mean they've spent an outrageous amount more than anyone else. For example, apart from Grealish, United could have bought anyone at City and not broken their own, record transfer spend. Same with Chelsea. They could have done that, but they didn't spend it well. So that annoys me. Anyway, that's the thing. Do you have anything else to say on Gaskey before we touch on the football?
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Pissing me off. But yeah, City win the title. City's B team, it turned out, was actually able to beat a dispatch of Chelsea.
Yeah, let's just be fair with that as well. They beat a bottom half team with their B team. That's how far ahead they are from everyone else. You can't talk about how much that team's worth because it was on the bench. Mm-hmm. That was youth players.
That's one of the best benches I've ever seen, by the way.
It probably is the best bench you've ever seen.
It's got to be up there.
Was that, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get onto the Arsenal capitulation because it was actually Arsenal losing that gave City the title. But a lot of people, in fact, I've just recorded a YouTube video about this, Gaskey. A lot of people are saying that now they're changing their tune a bit. In sort of January, February, Haaland's made Man City worse. This City side are not as good as they were before. There are key issues at City. There's got to be an overhaul of some players. And now, a couple months later, ever since the allegations, actually, City have not lost one game.
Yeah, let me. Can I guess what the people are saying?
What
let me
saying?
Guess. What? City would not have won the league if it weren't for Haaland. Let me guess.
Well, that too. That too.
One of them.
Yeah, but now people are saying, is this the best? Not only is this the best City side ever, is this the best Premier League side ever? How does this side compare to Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, which is the best club side ever? And it's just a staggering turnaround, isn't it? Whether you think about those ends of the argument, like it's staggering how, Jamie Carragher in one breath in February was saying Haaland's picked the wrong team, and people are saying he's made Man City worse, and now he's saying they're better than United's treble-winning side. So what's happened this season, Gaskey? What was the main? Because something's obviously happened to go from that to this.
I don't know, because it's just contradictory, really. Because what is it? Everyone always says when a new transfer comes in and it's an expensive player, you give him a season, they've got to gel with the new team. Apparently, Haaland's not allowed to do that. He has to hit the ground running from minute one. I mean, he did, but again, that wasn't enough, apparently.
Yeah.
So I don't get what they're on about. Let's be fair, the only person who seems to make any sense the whole way through was Gary Neville. He was right. And the people were questioning him, and it's like, this is the guy who's been in God knows how many title races. I don't know how many they won, like 9 or whatever it was. He's been in all these title races. He knows what teams do. And he said in January, after Arsenal beat United in the last minute, like, everyone was like, who's going to stop this Arsenal team? He was like, what have they done? They've just beat United in the last minute. I wouldn't be surprised if City come and catch them and run past them. And they have.
They have.
So,
absolutely, yeah. It is a weird one. I do think there are a number of factors. I think that the fact the allegations happened, I think that probably galvanized everyone and made like a siege mentality. I think something did click as well for a lot of the players. You said it, Haaland hit the ground running. He wasn't the issue. Players around him was the issue. I think the system change also helped, moving Stones into that progressive centre-half role, whatever you want to call it, where it becomes a midfielder. And obviously the Arsenal situation, which we'll get into. But where do you personally rank this Man City side, Gaskey? First of all, let's compare it to other Pep City sides first of all, and then compare it to the heavy hitters. I don't want you to just focus on what it is now and what it has been since March. I want the whole season, so when they were struggling at Old Trafford and Spurs, etc.
I'd probably put them. Oh, it's a difficult one, because I would say, it's a tough question. I'd put them top 4. In terms of because my top 3 would be 99 United, City Centurion, and maybe United 08.
Yeah,
is the best 3 in terms of the season.
Yeah, where would you?
I'd put this City season probably with Liverpool's Premier League, Champions League double, and Arsenal Invincibles. I kind of put them in the same bracket.
Right.
But this team's young, and this team could, if they win the treble, they'll go straight to arguably the top. Because, to go from adapting a new style to winning everything is incredible. And I'll say this because this is what's annoyed me. How people can compare the 99 United team to this team. The most people that are comparing it are 30-year-olds. you haven't seen the 1919 play. You've only seen this team. You're just assuming and you're watching highlights. It shows a completely different story. So I would probably say maybe on par, maybe better. The only thing you can go off is City are going to finish the league with more points and the same trophies if they do win everything. So on paper, yeah, they're better, but it's difficult to call.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if they do the treble, I think that from the outside looking in, I think most people will say, well, yeah, they're the best now. Me personally, I think that City Centurions were still better, but that's just because they were more exciting to watch. I'm not sure, but they did go 100 points at the end of the day. So me personally, I still have the City Centurions, and maybe next season. I tell you what, if we're talking about like a period, probably City from March to now is probably the best City side I've seen. But you've got to do that across the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. Like if next season you go and just do it again, like demolish through the season, then you'd easily say they're the best. Even if they don't have to win the treble again, you just have to compete the way they're doing, and then they'll easily surpass other teams. But if we're going off 1 year, then it's difficult to call.
I guess the next question becomes: this was probably like not City's transitional year, but definitely going from one way of playing to the other, false nine to proper nine. And it's taken them half a season to adapt. And now seemingly they fully adapted. So next season, one assumes City just going to go from strength to strength, and now they'll play the whole season fully adapted. So what does that mean for the rest of the league in terms of trying to compete with them? And specifically, because obviously Arsenal finished second, what does that mean for Arsenal, who we'll get to in detail in a second? But what does it mean for Arsenal? Because was this their one chance to hit City when they were not quite their best? How's the moment gone?
I think so. It's no disrespect on Arsenal, because they were by far the second best team, clearly, with them being top most of the year. But it's a very young squad. They've got plenty of time in them. But I can't remember who I read it online, but I agree. I think the only team or the only kind of setup that can catch City is Liverpool. With the current situation, like everyone else is just struggling to just run the club properly and be able to just go from strength to strength to strength. Like it took Arsenal so long, and I feel like they finally hit the formula for in the next 5 years to be competing, to not just be fifth or sixth, to actually compete. Top three, top four. And there's only really Liverpool who I think Liverpool just had a bad season, and which happens. Almost got back. Potentially could still get top four. We don't know, but they're the only team that I feel have the structure to be able to catch them or to compete with them. No one else has it. Chelsea are just spending money willy nilly. United don't know if the owners are staying or going. Just just forget about Tottenham or even Newcastle. Newcastle potentially, they've not. I said at the start of the season, Eddie Howe isn't a long-term success, solution, but he's got on Champions League football, pretty much, and they've not even Botman and Isak is all they've really agreement. Maybe they're three of them. They've not even broke the bank and gone and mental. I don't think they will, because they've got a good structure and they've got a good idea. So it looks like there's 2.5 teams maybe who've got an idea. So I don't think anyone can. Next season, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they won the treble again, if they do win the treble. Who
knows? Maybe the quadruple that everyone's been talking about for however many years.
No, because Southampton decided they're going to take.
Oh, I know.
They're going down and they're taking someone with them.
It wasn't just Southampton. It was Nathan Jones's Southampton, the mentalist. Who ended that?
Yeah, like out of everyone, it's him. He's just for someone with an ego like that, just to fuel it.
I know, right? Yes, and yeah. So Arsenal, they did. There's been lots of arguments about semantics this season, and I think even people in football media, like Jake Humphries, are saying, I really don't like this idea of using the word bottle. Like it's only a word, first of all. It's not that serious, but it is a bottle. Maybe this is something we can have a chat about next week when the season's over. But this has in detail, but this has got to be up there with biggest bottle jobs in terms of title races. I'm putting it up there with United in 11-12, because at least, the situation was worse at the start because they were 8 points ahead with 6 points United, but at least they were in it until the last kick of the season, and took it to goal difference, which has never been done before.
Yeah, so it depends how you look at what's worse. Like, at the end of the day, saying Arsenal bottom of the league does not mean they've had a really bad season. They've been ups to garbage. They've been the second best team. Simple as that. And I think for me, like in the 11-12 season, it was back and forth. And that's what made it a good title race. It got to a point when United had that lead and you thought it was over, and it wasn't. It was a really good season. United did bottle it, but it was a great season and it was a great ending to the season. This season was, 93% of the time, Arsenal are top. Mm-hmm. Not top as in a point and City got a game in hand where they could just go past them. They've been clear.
8 points clear.
If City won their game in hand, I think it was 5 points minimum if they played the same amount of games. And in the space of, 3 weeks, they've 10 points behind, potentially. Like, that's a complete bottle.
They're going to be closer to third place, probably, than first.
It's the gaps that if United and Newcastle win both their games and Arsenal, if all top four win their games, the gap's the same. Yeah. The gap's 10 points between first, second, and second and third.
Yeah, which is mad.
That's in a month.
And also, not really under any real pressure.
No, but it's like I think I keep seeing these arguments as well, saying, "Oh yeah, look how we meant to stop them." It's like, but you're not playing them. You're 2-0 up against West Ham. You go 2-0 down at home against Southampton. You're comfortable against Brentford. You're throwing all these points away. They've done it themselves. It's nothing to do with City. You're winning games in City. You as a City fan, and other City fans are probably thinking, "Oh, how the hell? They've got the gap's too big now. They're winning these games, and they're throwing it away." Yeah, they're the ones that give City the sniff to go and win it. So it's their own fault. It's not about City are too good.
Yeah, definitely. And now they're going to be maximum 84 points. That would only win you the last time 84 points wins you the league is when Leicester won it 8 years ago. So it just goes to show that at the halfway stage, they had 50 points. And now did I say 84? So first half of the season, 50.
16 points down. Yeah. 16 points worse off the second half.
Yeah, to go from 50 to 34 is mental, to be honest. And
because that's 5 losses.
Yeah.
Four losses, 2 draws, which is like to go, exactly.
And you get pumped twice by your title rivals. So doubly bad there. And
it's another one. It also adds to the list. The teams who have been top since March and not won the league 4 times. Arsenal twice, Liverpool once. That's now Arsenal 3 times. So they're the bottlers in the Premier League. Simple as that.
Yeah. So. It's so odd. And we talked about this on the last podcast. There is a clearly, I mean, fair enough. I don't expect them to have the finished mentality or the finished product, but there is clearly an inferiority complex. There's clearly a mentality issue in respect to like winning the league, which I say is fair enough. No, expect them to win it, but once you're in the position, you should win it. So how do Arsenal, assuming Arsenal want to try to do the same next season, Gaskey, how do they remedy that? Is it just a case of, well, we've got the experience, so we'd be better for it, or do they need to sort of like bring in ready-made, battle-hardened winners?
They need, I would say, depth. A good depth where certain players don't have to play stupid minutes, and leadership, because they just lack someone who's just going to grab the team and sort them out and organise. That's what they seem to lack. Like, they're in comfortable winning positions, and as soon as teams go at them, they're like any other team in the league. They got to change that by getting someone who keeps them organised. I think we said, didn't we? Xhaka's the most experienced, and he's a nutter as well. So
and he's leaving.
Where's your level head?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that player who kind of keeps the team like calm? Doesn't have to be an amazing player. I've seen United have lows over the years, and they've been the worst players in the team. So you just need someone who's gonna keep them calm.
Yeah, definitely. And there are definite upgrades that they can easily make. Like, I know Zinchenko's had a decent season, but I don't think he's a solution as a long-term.
There's better left backs.
Starting left back, yeah. And even Jesus, as much as I like him, if we're now, I thought these were good signs for Arsenal at the time, because I assumed that Arsenal would be a top 4 team. I don't think these players are good enough to start for you when you're trying to win the league title. Same with Ditto Gabriel. As a squad option.
Don't start with that, because that's like he should be in the team of the season. No,
No.
He's one of those centre backs where he reminds me like Liverpool. We said it with Liverpool. When Van Dijk was being world beater, anyone you put next to him would look amazing. That's how good Saliba's season was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Simple as that. So
definitely. Yeah. So there's a definite upgrade that can be made there. And then he just, even on the Jesus one, we didn't use a striker for 2 years and we had Jesus there fit and ready. We didn't use him as a striker. So if you want to use a player who City deem not good enough to lead the line on a long-term basis, that is another area that you can strengthen for sure. So Arsenal, a lot of work to be done, I think, if they want to compete next season, because I can only see City getting better. And that is 3 in a row. Fantastic stuff. Who knows? Maybe they'll be the first team to win 4 in a row in English football history.
No. Preferably no. We don't want that.
Oh yes, we do. Yes, well, 50% of us do here, so that's good. And we've got a bald fraud there in the corner, and he wants it as well. So there he is.
He's not real.
Yes, he is. He's there. I can see him. He's not there. Real. But there we go. So that is Man City's title win. I'm obviously very happy about it. If you want to learn more about my thoughts on City's season and what's next for City, etc., then I've done a YouTube video on it on my main channel. Go give it a watch if you'd like to. We'll talk more about United and the other teams next week when the season's over. We can properly digest what's actually happened when we know all the information, such as who's been relegated, who's secured top 4 football, etc., etc. So let's move on to the end of season awards. I think we've seen enough to give out these awards. We might not have time for Jack's worst Premier 11 draft, but we shall see what we see. But the end of season awards, Gaskey. Now, immediately, we've listed some here. We've got best player, best young player, best signing, dark horse, biggest flop, most improved player, and sort of unsung hero. Now, immediately, straight off the bat,
Haaland, best player. We can't. It's done.
Best player, best young player, best signing. Can we agree on that?
I think we have to do the same. We could go for honourable mentions, but Haaland gets all 3. Yeah. I never understand how. I understand like when they do the actual Premier League awards that the young player is usually different to the best player if it's a young player. But like, let's be fair. You can't give one. You can't give me one or the other.
Yeah, and he has been nominated for the Young Player Award as well.
Yeah, so he might not even win both, but that's just because it's like we have to be fair.
Stuff being fair. Yeah, so yeah,
no, he should win both. Yeah,
easily the best player. He scored, broken all goal scoring records. Yeah. It's insane. And he must have one of the best like minutes to goal record as well. Like it's not even like he's.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a period where he didn't even play every game, wasn't there?
Yeah. So he's got to be. If you're the best player and you qualify for it, you've also got to be the best young player. And if you are the best player and a new signing, you've got to also be the best signing. Clearly, don't give me Botman and all that stuff as best signing. No, it's Haaland. Like I'm not even going to entertain anything else on that. Gaskey, you said dark horse here. Tell me more. What does that mean?
So the team that's like, come out of nowhere. You didn't expect to be this good. Because I have 3 teams in mind.
Tell me more.
I have Brighton.
Yeah.
Villa.
Yeah.
And Fulham.
Yes.
So the argument really is who has done maybe Newcastle as well
and Brentford.
And maybe Brentford on the edge because Brentford have been so topsy-turvy, which is like similar to last season. But I feel like the other 4 have pushed on enough. Like I think Brighton getting European football for the first time in their history is, I think, probably clinches it. But then between them and Newcastle, I would say, because Newcastle, I mean, who predicted them to get top 4?
Yeah, fair. Definitely.
So it's a tough one.
I see where you're coming from with the Brighton one. We all know how much I love Brighton. Yeah. The reason why I just wouldn't award them dark horse for this year is because it doesn't really surprise me they've got 6th or what they might get 6th place because what did they get last year? Let's have a look. Was it 9th they got last year? Yeah, so they got 9th last year. And in fact, even before Potter left, he left them in 4th place. So I sort of expected them to kick on from that place. And I think I predicted them to get 8th and I thought I was being fair. So yeah, so...
Yeah,
but we knew how good they were.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I think so. Yeah, so I agree with that. So maybe it's between really then. If we're going off that kind of like where we would expect them and they didn't, it's between maybe Newcastle and Fulham or Villa then. One of them three. But I'd probably give it to Newcastle then.
Yeah, it's...
Newcastle getting third.
Yeah, let's just touch on Fulham, on Villa for a second, because they were another name you mentioned. So they're in 7th place. They were actually in a relegation battle at one point.
Well, they came from sacking their manager to getting pretty much a world-class manager and getting Europe pretty much.
Yeah.
Or close to.
Yeah, again, I can totally understand why we might consider Villa. For me, me personally, I think the Villa have been heavily underperforming the past year or so, under Gerrard, etc. Yeah. Because if you looked at the actual players, I think
no, they do. They have a team.
Yeah, they've got a solid foundation and some really good talent in there. I think not this season, but I think the season before, the year they sold Grealish and invested it. Yeah. I think I predicted them to get 6th or something because the players on offer and the squad value was clearly good enough to be, fighting for Europe.
I just didn't have the coach.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally understand why we might put them in the dark horse category, but I actually think what we're seeing now is a realization of what happens if you gave this squad a decent manager.
I'll give him a secret award of the comeback award because they were crap for the start of the season. So then coming from nowhere. Yeah. But then Fulham, I think a lot of people are predicting relegation battle. And they've just gone at a really good start and then mid-tabled it, which is, I think, overachieved.
Yeah,
personally.
Definitely. I had Fulham in 4th from bottom. And when I made that prediction, I had lots of people saying, this is one of the only predictions I've seen without Fulham in the bottom 3. I know that they haven't capitulated, but
it's coming off. I think it's coming off the previous few seasons where Fulham have been in the Premier League and they've just gone back down because they'll throw money in players that no one's heard of and then rubbish. Whereas they seem to just have used their brains this time round. And they were overachieving a lot of the season and 6th. And it was like, well, this isn't new.
Yeah.
So
you're not that guy.
Getting 10th from getting getting same wins as losses and stuff is brilliant.
It's fantastic. Brilliant. And also they got to a FA Cup quarter-final, was it? Against United? Yeah. So incredibly impressive. And also, if you look at the players, let's compare, because they were for a long time similar to Brighton in position. The Fulham players are nowhere near the level of the Brighton players.
No. And to be fair, a lot of them are players that played in the Prem previous time when they got relegated, who stuck around and they're doing it better now. Yeah,
like Mitrovic. He's actually become a Premier League quality striker, it seems.
Yeah.
So I've been really impressed. And also, I think what I've also been impressed with is that if you look at, the likes of Brighton and Villa, they have got and Brentford, they've got quite interesting tactical setups. Fulham isn't really that. It's more sort of standard and it's more honest in respect of the players understand and appreciate their talents and Marco Silva's aware that you can't do a fancy tactical system because the players probably aren't quite good enough. But their praise should be in that of you don't need a fancy tactical setup. You just need hardworking, honest players. And sounds like I'm underselling them because they are also very good players, a lot of them. But you get what I mean. They are overperforming.
They're not. Yeah, exactly. You can see with Brighton that they do play a very good way, a very exciting way of football. And I think it was from the FA Cup semi-final against United. You can notice it got to a point when it was too much for them.
Mm-hmm.
They were giving the ball away and it was all that space because, let's be fair, the players of Brighton have got a good, but if you improve certain areas, they'll be miles better. But to get and playing the way they have is hats off to Potter and to Sherby, really.
Yeah. But I think you are right. Yeah, I was going to say, I think your initial instinct is correct. Newcastle, and I know a lot's changed since, but Newcastle were going to get relegated last season. When did they even finish? I know they got taken over to the Lure, but they still only finished 11th. No one thought. Third.
They got a manager halfway through the season last season. He kept them up. They bought players, but it's not like they've gone. They just done what Villa did that year. When Villa spent 100 odd million before they sold Grealish, and they almost got relegated with it. They've just done, and then by this time they've done that, bought big players, and third place.
Yeah, it's just, who knows, maybe, Newcastle will, they're not going to go to 5th, are they? At least 4th. Champions League football is basically assured.
United and Newcastle need 1 point.
Yeah, well, there you go.
From 1 point from 2 games.
There you go.
So you think it's done.
Yeah.
So.
And even if Liverpool win and Newcastle lose, there would have to be a 7-goal difference swing.
It's a goal, yeah. But then Newcastle have to lose 2 games.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're fine. Yeah. It's got. Yeah. I think you're right. It's got to be them as the dark horse. I think I had them as 7th.
Mid-table. I think I had like close to mid-table. Yeah.
I had them 7th, and I thought that was. I've got like a friend who's a Newcastle fan, and he was really happy with that because he predicted 9th or something. He thought I was overselling them, and 3rd place or 4th place Champions League football for the first time in however many years for Newcastle. Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job. They haven't gone mental and signed ready-made stars, etc. Players have just upped it a notch, and they will just go from strength to strength. It's got to be Newcastle as the dark horse team. What's the opposite of a dark horse?
A
white sheep,
a light unicorn. I don't know, a light sheep. I don't know what you call it. What do you mean, like the flops?
Not even because I do want to talk about flop of the season in terms of like a player, but I think I want to
a team Leicester.
Yeah,
it has to be Leicester.
Shout out Chelsea.
Oh yeah, Chelsea as well. But I think between Chelsea and Leicester. Based on, if we're going off Chelsea spending stupid amounts of money and finishing mid-table, is ridiculous. And then there's Leicester, who have actually been relegated.
Yes. Are they definitely relegated, or can they still survive?
They can still survive, but
it's probably not
very
unlikely. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they get relegated, it's like you've just, from winning the league in 6-7 years, you've gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
that is mad, isn't it? Yeah, they were Premier League champions 8 years. They could have been the champ. Got like when those 2 years where they missed out on Champions League football by like a point because they bottled it, and now they're here.
So over 3 years, they've gone from winning the league, winning the league and playing the Champions League, to top 4 fights to relegation.
Yeah, it's just staggering, and that team that will be up there with one of the best teams in terms of talent to get relegated for sure. It's going to get absolutely stripped down in the Championship. Mm-hmm. Either that, or if they decide to stick around, they'll break records. If that squad stays together in the Championship. Definitely. Yeah. So that's the club. I probably agree with you there, but I just want to shout out Chelsea.
Leicester and Chelsea, they're the 2.
Yeah. But now in terms of an individual, now I know it's not fair. We'll have to do this with a pinch of salt because you should never judge a player after one season. But if we're being unfair... and just having a bit of fun, who for you is like the flop player? So
off the top of my head,
a lot of players.
It depends how we look at it, because me personally, when I look at players, I choose to ignore transfer fees. I don't care. It's not my money. I couldn't care less how much someone's worth. And I know some people will also disagree and go, if a player's 100 million and he's absolutely crap, or he's not playing at 100 million quality, then he's flopped. Whereas I just decide, no, I'm watching the player for 90 minutes a match. Yeah. How does he play? But
so this is why. So if we are disregarding transfer fee, which is fair enough, I think that we've got to take into account what was the player brought in to do.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Like, so if, for example, if a team signed a striker and he's done, so like for example, Richarlison, right? Let's just ignore transfer fee. He's come in to play up front with Kane, and he's scored 1 Premier League goal,
which was irrelevant as well.
Which was irrelevant because Liverpool went over and scored.
Yeah.
So he's 1 goal. I mean, if we're not taking transfer fees, and he scored 1 goal, that is all he's done.
This is also why I don't want to bring. I know I can see why lots of people would say Calvin Phillips. I totally understand it because there's big transfer fee. But at the end of the day, he wasn't brought in to start every single game.
Exactly. He's he's a lot of money, but if we're not talking transfer fees, his job is
being understudy,
to support player. Because, Rodri plays that position, and you need again, it's backup. It's about depth. Players come in to do squad depth. They don't come in to start. They don't come in to, do. It's like, for example, like Alvarez. He was never going to start. We knew that when he signed him. He was like, Holland's coming, so he's not going to start exactly. But his job is to be the sub, and he's the one of the probably top 5 best strikers in the league, which is mental. So that's another example. That's the example. But obviously, like, yeah, when you look at it that way, but then if you want to look at transfer fees, there's a lot.
You can bring in like, Mudryk, can't you, for example?
There's a lot of flops. Whereas, like, yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot, like most of the Chelsea team. Yeah. To be fair, let's be honest.
I quite like your answer though. To be fair, like Richarlison, I think probably is up there. And I know we said we wouldn't talk about transfer fee, but again, it was a lot of money. And even if he's just brought in to be a rotational option, I think it's a bit more than that, but he's been bad. Yeah,
come in, and I think I'd probably say him and Mudryk maybe, because they've come in and done nothing. Actually done nothing. Other players have at least come and done something. They've done nothing.
Yes, exactly. So I'm sure there are lots of other options. In fact, if there are, you guys can let us know in the comments. Who do you guys think would you say is like the flop of the season? Lots of people said, maybe Anthony. Again, I think he's actually been all right in recent weeks and months. He's shown that. I think his confidence, because there was games like, especially when it was since the Liverpool game, really, because he was just quiet. He's like out of it. Whereas he's got this fire in his belly and he wants to, fight for the ball and, I think it was the Sevilla game away. It was absolute shambles and he was the only one trying. Yeah.
And, he's a player in there. And if he wants to be one-footed, fine, be one-footed. But you need to be as good as Iron Robin with one foot.
Yes.
If you're going to be one-footed, if you want to telegraph you're going on your left, you need to hit a pinpoint cross or a pinpoint top corner nearly every time. Simple as that. And if he can get even better at that, brilliant. There is a player. I believe there is a player in there.
Totally. Yeah. As I say, I'm tentative to have a go with him for one season. Also, the thing is, I guess, just final thing on the Richarlison one is it's not like he's coming to a new league either. Like he was already in the Premier League, so that's added to the
have they signed? It's like if they signed him to replace Harry Kane. If Harry Kane leaves, is that the whole point of signing him now? He's ready, kind of like Alvarez at City. But then you'd think Premier League ready, he's going to play more. He's done nothing when he's played. So
yeah, weird. Yeah. Apologies, Jack. I don't have time for your worst Premier 11 draft. We promise we'll do it next time. The final award, Gaskey, before we wrap it up. Most improved player. And the obvious shouts are Grealish and Rashford. Xhaka for Arsenal, maybe. Odegaard.
It's a tough one. There's probably loads of others people come in with other players, but
for me, it's Grealish, I think. Although, actually, no, it's not, because actually, I take that back, because last season he wasn't bad.
Grealish over the last couple of years.
I'd maybe have Rashford.
I'd say Rashford are in the best season of his, of his career, pretty much.
Worst season last season, best season this season. It's probably It's got to be Rashford, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. There might be others we forgot about and people will put us in our place, but I think if we're going, I think that's it.
Well, you guys can let us know who you think is the most improved.
I mean, there's probably some like mid-table and things, but
yeah, I'm not having like bloody Alma on. Like he had a purple patch and that's it. So no.
Yeah, Alma had what? Like was he like third in the goal scoring and now he's like bottom?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why Jack Grealish is clear. But yes, there we go. Those are our end of season awards. Slightly shorter podcast than usual. Hopefully, you guys still enjoyed it though. Gaskey, did you enjoy it?
I had a good time. Nice, short but sweet. What we like.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Amazing stuff. Next week, we are going to be reviewing the end of the season, maybe grading each club's season and how they've done, and also focusing on United as well. Less so City, because we talked about City a lot today. And we'll see if we can squeeze in the worst Premier 11 draft for NobCast as well. Well, that's been the podcast. That's been the NobCast. I've been Nobbins.
I've been Gaskey.
And we will see you guys next time. Goodbye, guys.